going on, guys? So today we're gonna do some more work back on the 2023 Rocket GT Red and Chrome Edition. So as you know, these things come with these very small fly screens, as they call them, up in the front. And although it does give you a little bit of mid-body protection from the wind when it goes through, it directs everything right up in your head, and you just end up doing this like crazy when you go through, especially when you're getting a little spirited in your ride. So what I bought is the MADSTAD Adjustable windscreen, and I'll get a close-up when I do the overhead so you guys can see everything comes with it. But this thing is cool because it's adjustable, and so you can slide it up, you can slide it down, you can slide it forward, you can pitch it back. So it basically adjusts from this little tiny fly screen here in the front up to this full-size windscreen here that gives you a lot more protection. So when it sits on here, it'll sit about like this, and you can adjust it up and down and forward, pitch it closer and further back. It's a pretty cool mechanism. So I'll show you what those look like, and super nice company. Chatted with them a little bit online, different areas, and I'm real excited about it. I can't wait. I've been looking at these for a while, and since I already had a solution on my 2020, I didn't want to go spend yet again for another one. So now that we got this new bike, I'm real excited about this one. So let me get things turned around on the overhead. We'll show you what's going on with it, give you all the details, and I'll have all the information in my description like normal with a link to it and the model I got and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is going to be cool. All right, see you soon. All right, so I got everything turned around. You can see kind of one comes with everything. You've got your two brackets that go on here that allow you to adjust it up and down. I'll show you those in a second. Got a cool little MADSTAD Connect with us. You've got their instructions that show you kind of what's going on. You can see it's for 2020 and up Rocket 3 or Rockets. It should be GT or regular Roadster. So nice color instructions. Shows you what to do, how to put them on, how the adjustments, which way the screws go, all that. So pretty cool. Again, it comes with that. Comes in a box with all kinds of bubble wrap on it, so it protects it real nice. And then it comes in a sealed plastic bag. And this is essentially what the windscreen looks like. So very cool. You can see here it's got the 4 mounting holes that line up with the existing fly screen, which these brackets go into on that, which is nice. And then when you take a look at the brackets, you can see here you can get them in chrome or black, and you have a couple different adjustments. So they factory set this one at the height. You can move it if you want to, depending on how you like to have it. Then you loosen up this knob, and this allows you to adjust the pitch this way. And then you also have this little spring pin right here that you can pull out and adjust this way if you want to bring it in closer. So these two you can do on the fly when you're riding on the bike, and then if you need to move this one, you just need a wrench to adjust that. But all nice little protective grommets that go in there and everything else, so pretty cool. Real excited to see how this thing turns out. I'm going to be setting it out at the furthest extension because I want it the most vertical to provide that wind buffeting to go up over my head as close as possible. So but that's about it. That's what it comes with. Like I said, great company. In the description I'll put the part number and what length and height I got on it and all that kind of stuff so you can see. And we'll switch everything back over around to the bike and start getting this thing installed. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so we got it all turned around now. So here you can see I'm trying to get as close to this windscreen or fly screen, if you will, because it's so small, as I can, so you can see what it looks like and that it's a good shot. So there's these 2 screws here that go in, which are T27s. There's also 2 screws underneath for the mounting bracket that it says needs to come out, which is also a T27. And then we'll probably use the same bolts for those on the bottom that went through those. So first thing I'm going to do is take off my cool little bar bag that I have. I have this on there just to give me a place to store some stuff. And then you can take your T27, can be a nut driver, it can be a ratchet, it can be whatever you want, and whatever you're most at ease with using. So we'll just take this guy off right here. I'm wearing gloves so that I don't put fingerprints all over my windscreen when I put it on. But these are the screws that come out that are the T27s right there. It comes out with that little brushed silver protection plate there on the front. Okay, so when you take this piece off, hold on to your fly screen, because once you pull this little guy out, it's loose. So there's those. So here's your stock mounting bracket with your little rubber bushings. These are threaded inserts. The new one comes with new threaded inserts as well. So we're going to take this piece off. Same thing with this one. When you pull this piece out, hang on to this little piece because it's going to be loose. That's all that holds this on. So you can see now you get to your wires, any connections for lights and things like that underneath here. I'm going to take a moment and clean this off since I have it off. Rockets are notorious for getting bugs up underneath here on these hard to reach places just because of the velocity these things go through. So we're going to clean that up real quick before we put the other bracket on. Now we're going to take one of the brackets. You can see the shape right there and the holes will line up in this groove right here. And it will use these threaded nuts in here to screw in there. We're going to use the same bolts that we used for the original one we took it off. So this sits here, this goes like that. So we're just going to set this in place, hold it in there, and then start one of these screws. Okay, so that's one side. I just snugged it down, still loose, because I want to make sure I have everything in place before I try to tighten it down. And then once we get that and I know the holes line up, then I'll go in and tighten these things up. I'll have to have the windscreen off when I do it because I won't be able to get to these bolts behind the windscreen, but we'll get an idea how it goes. Now that I got those in there loose so I can still kind of move them, I'm just going to test the holes to see if they line up right. And they do. All right, cool. So those are in there good. That'll line up nice. That'll give a kind of an idea of what it's going to look like. And then now that I know those are going to line up, I'm going to go through and snug those guys down. Okay, now these are nice and snugged in. You don't have to wrench these down real hard. The nuts that are inside of here are little slide-in nuts that expand, so you don't want to blow them out. It's very similar to these ones here. So you can't crank it down real hard because if you do, you'll strip it or it'll spin and it'll bust out of the thing, so you don't want to do that. All right, so you can kind of see how these are going to align, right? So if I got them both up, got them both down, all right, I got the pins all the way to the highest point, which is where I want them. And so now we're going to take and get ready with these included black screws. They're going to go in here. These are threaded little nut inserts that are kind of rubber. So these screws will go into there to hold the windshield on. All right. So you get these little plastic or rubber washers that come with the kit. You get these screws, and then you also get these plastic washers. So the way it goes is it goes plastic washer and screw on the outside of the windscreen, and then it goes windscreen, and then rubber washer, and the rubber washer goes between the windscreen and the bracket, okay? Okay, so I cleaned off the underside of the windshield where it's gonna hit here and mount because that's gonna be hard to get to. So I just cleaned off, got all the fingerprints or any smudges off before. It's why I'm wearing gloves. And the way this is gonna sit is gonna be just like this. So we will take one part, which is the screw and the plastic washer. And if you put it on there with the rubber washer like that, I don't know if you can see it, it'll hold the screw in place. So I'm going to put all 4 in like that so the screws are held in place, so I can just put it on there and start it with that Phillips head screwdriver. Now, one thing I want to call out, if you see these holes right here, put my hand behind it, they're elongated, right? So they're a little bit wide this way, so that gives you that flexibility. That's pretty cool. Most of them come with just single drilled holes, so it's neat that they thought of that. Pretty good quality. It's a nice thick windscreen too. Okay, so now I have all 4 screws started in there with the rubber grommets on the outside like they're supposed to be. So now we're going to take and start to line up one at a time and get them in position so we can get it started. So now you can see when I got it in place what it does. It allows you to move it this way, which is your pitch, which clears the headlight just fine with the factory setting. If you lower that factory setting down, you're probably going to hit your windscreen on your light kit. So, and then you can have it straight up vertical like that and tighten it, and then use those pins to bring it down, right? So just for fun, we're going to tighten these knobs up right here just to stop it from moving on me, right? Okay, so now it's not going to move. I'll tighten them more, but it's not going to move while I try to tighten these screws up. Then you can take these pins out and pitch it back even more. So it gives you some really nice flexibility and movement, which I really like about that. All right, let's tighten these guys up. Again, you don't have to monkey these things down. They're just little rubber threaded grommets. They're going to squish and put resistance against the screw. So you just snug them in there to where they're good and snug, and then keep an eye on them, and that'll tell you if they vibrate loose or something and you got to go a little tighter. Okay, so nice and snug. It's loose right now because I don't have it tightened down all the way on the adjustment brackets. So, but just to give you an idea, here's the stock fly screen. That goes right here and is pitched all the way back at this level with that little flip that does this. This goes way up here and gives you a lot more coverage, and I can adjust it, and it's got a nice smooth edge going around to where I can flip through. But look at that difference in coverage. Huge, huge difference. All right, so now we're going to adjust this down a little bit, kind of to where I think I want it. I like it up a little bit higher, I think. So right about there. And then we'll tighten up these knobs. So there's a little rattle as it moves like this down here, and that's these middle nuts. There's a nylon nut, and I think, I don't know, maybe a 4, I don't know, I'll have to get an Allen wrench in there and see what it is. But there's a nylon nut for those middle brackets. So I'm gonna snug those down because I like the way this fits right at the top of my light kit, and tighten those down, and that'll stop that rocking on those brackets, because that'll drive me crazy. All right, so I'm gonna tighten these, and that's a 10 millimeter nut with a 4 millimeter Allen wrench. So we're gonna get that set up. Okay, so now tighten those up, it's a little better. You're gonna get some play, it seems, because of those pull pins, but I tightened up that 4 millimeter with a 10 millimeter, and I also found another one down there that looked to be about a 3 millimeter with an 8 millimeter nut. Tighten that up a little bit too. Shouldn't hinder the operation of the bolt of the adjustment. So let's see. Yeah, still lets me adjust it, so that's good. So I'm going to set that where I think I want it, right about there, and tighten these up. Now that I've minimized that rattle. One thing I would suggest to the folks at MADSTAD with this, love the concept, think it's awesome. I would get a little bit more rubber grommets in between there or something. Stop that rattling for those pins, because that'll drive you nuts when you're doing a certain amount of spirited speed down the road, and this thing will be rattling. All right, and that's about it. So we have it installed, looks really nice. The difference in comparison between the two is tremendous. I love the look. It keeps lots of room in there. I can have a good sized bag up on my bars and not have an issue with it. We'll see how it goes with the adjustment of what I like for where the head hits. But yeah, pretty happy. So let me throw my helmet on and we'll go take it out for a ride and see what it feels like. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so now we're up back on the Rocket now, and you can see it's a much different view from previous rides because this windscreen that's in there. And let me tell you what, I still feel I got it the most vertical position, and I still feel it at the top of my head a little bit, but man, the whole body part and blowing in my face and rocking my head around is gone. Such a very cool concept to be able to have this and have it adjust and all that. Looks really good, rides really good, sounds really good against the wind, doesn't get a lot of wind noise. All right, so now we're going to get up on a little bit more of an open road here in a minute, where I can get it up to a decent speed and kind of see how that wind noise comes up over. So like right now I got my face shield cracked. That's with my face shield closed. So I don't know what it sounds like in the mic, but I can tell you in my head it sounds a lot better. It's not quite as noisy as it used to be with just that fly screen on there. So that's an improvement. Let me open this back up. Get some air because we're approaching 90 degrees here. But yeah, super crystal clear plastic, nice thickness. You can see on the top just kind of how thick that is. Very impressed with it. You can see the thickness right here. Doesn't flex. I mean, I'm doing about 70 right now, and there's no flex in it. There's no bow or bounce. Very cool. Still hits me in the forehead though, but that's better in the neck and the chest. So that's where that little fly screen was. Almost felt like it wanted to pull me off the bike, which, you know, not a bad thing, but kind of a bad thing if you think about flying off this sucker. So, all right, here we go. Sixth gear now, doing about 100. Shh, don't tell nobody. And that thing is not moving. I hear wind in my helmet. Let me shut that snap. So there might be some helmet noise, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. And this windscreen is just not moving. It's not flexing, it's not vibrating, it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there giving me a nice wall of air protection. Like I said, still hits the top of my head a little bit, but nowhere near. So very, very nice. And it's wide enough to give me enough of a body block and not so wide that it just kind of looks stupid. So I kind of enjoy that too. Makes a nice little balance on it. All right. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, very pleased with this. Such a major improvement from the stock one. and the noise and the beatings that I take with it. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the stock fly screen is nice if you're just cruising around town or something like that, but you get anywhere that's upwards of 40 to 45 miles an hour, you're going to be fighting. Neck's going to get tired and all that kind of stuff, trying to hold your fat head up, or at least my fat head anyway, through all that wind resistance. Okay, so as I'm sitting here on the bike right now, you can see where the pitch and the angle is. I can pull these two pins out and pull this down and adjust it to another position and then snap it in. I could even go all the way more forward. So what we're going to do is leave it where I had it because I like it, and then it snaps right in there. Look at that. How cool is that? And then if you want any more, you can loosen these and bring these back a little bit too. So very, very impressed with the flexibility of it and the adjustability, especially because you don't need tools. So that's nice. I still think they could do better with some of the binding elements for these screws and stuff to make it so it doesn't wiggle so much and rattle, but I didn't notice much of it when I was riding, so I guess I can't complain too much about that. But very happy with it. So as soon as this light turns around and gets us going, we'll pop it up one more shot and then wrap this little guy up, because gotta say, I love this windscreen. Very, very pleased. Man, it is warm. Whew. My gauge says 86, but sitting still in the sun without moving, that direct heat just beating down on you, guarantee it's more than that. Here we go. All right, crank her around. Well, gotta say, road test is very good. I think ops checks in every area were positive, and very pleased with this windscreen. Still hit you the top of the head a little bit, but great design. Works well, so much better than the other one. I actually like this better than my previous windscreen that I had on the 2020. So, like I said, the only thing I would probably mention to them is just, you know, work a little bit more on having some more either rubber or grommet style binding mechanisms in there to stop some of that wiggle jiggle with those pins and some of those other bolts. I know you have the nylon nuts, but if you have a little rubber inserts for them, that'll help that jiggle and vibration, I think. But all in all, very pleased, well worth it, very happy with it, and highly recommend it. So absolutely great job to MADSTAD for that. So like, subscribe, get any comments or feedback or questions, let me know what you liked or didn't like, and I'll have everything in the description so you can know where to get one of these if you want, and the other products that they have. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Be good humans, and we will catch you on the next one. All right, take care. We'll get those going. But just to give you an idea, shit.